And then they also said, this is Jordan said this, and more shatter point talk.
Please, right? Can we do that now? Jason's not here, so we can do that, right?
Look, we had somebody make a request. We're obligated
to fulfill the request. Otherwise, what's the point of requesting things, right? We have to.
We asked people if they want us to talk about something. Let's talk about it.
I want to talk about Shatterpoint so goddamn bad.
All right, Dane. So I don't know if you remember, but we get to do something in this game that we've never gotten to do in anything. We've never been early adopters. Like, we always play games. We play everything. We always joke that we're degenerates and we'll try everything. We are very rarely early adopters. Typically, we come along once we feel confident about something. I feel like that is maybe we have a little PTSD from a card game built around Star Wars and dice. I don't know.
It's possible.
We are nervous about card games, nervous about games in general. But I want you to harken back to our olden days. Back long ago in the olden time, when many a flesh and blood player was still tapping lands for mana, and we were playing in an RTN season. We were playing a season where, Chain was new and people didn't understand how truly degenerate he was. And when you won an RTN, you won an iconic card, an extended art rainbow foil Iandal's Spring Tunic.
Mm-hmm.
Iconic. Everything about it is iconic. It's a tunic. It's extended art. It's a special prize for RTNs. So I want to bring you to the modern times, and I want to ask you, what the hell, man? Jubeel, Spellbane, Cold Foil. Congratulations, winners of Road to Nationals. You get a cold foil weapon that will presumably be less rare than the what's the I don't even know what's the name of it? The blackout version. Marvel. There it is.
Thank you. Totally.
It will be more than likely be less common or more common than the Marvel that you could open in a box. That's what you're going to get for winning a Road to Nationals along with your invite to Nationals. So congratulations for all the work you put in. You will get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir. I'm going to be honest. I do not get it.
It's
not like I don't know. I don't get it.
It just doesn't. There has to be something. I saw that and I was like, what am I missing? What more is there to this? Like,
it's so weird to me because
it just genuinely kind of doesn't make sense. But I'm just some dumb guy. I don't know.
At this point, I think we've run into maybe an issue that we have in this game that is unique to Flesh and Blood again. We've talked about this many a time on many a podcast.
Too high.
Well, I don't even know if it's expectations. I mean, maybe there's some of that. Maybe we've been around too long. People harken back to it and they think about it, and people have made fair points about it. There's a couple more RTNs now than there were back then. One or two more maybe going on this season than that first season when we had them. So you got to be careful because you give out tunics and you could actually alter the effect. Like, you could alter the amount of like a playable card in the card pool and actually affect the market by giving out pricing of a card like that. I get that. I understand it. People don't yell at us in the comments. You're gonna yell anyway. I don't care. That's fine.
I don't know. We say that a lot. I don't know anyone really yells at us in the comments, do they?
At this point, anybody who disagrees with us has already unsubscribed.
True.
So we're not getting fight. It's mostly people. We've done what every great and truly iconic newscasting or people who bring the news to people has done, which is we've driven away anybody who disagrees with us, and we surrounded ourselves with yes men.
Oh, dude. Yeah. What do they call that? The cycle. Fucking Oh
I'm not
my
sure what you're looking for.
God, I don't know. I give up. Dude, my brain is fried. I'm really genuinely worried. Like my word recall, I'm worried about running session zeros this weekend. My word
Yeah,
recall
I
has
mean,
been shit all week.
it's okay. I'm with you. I am we're closing on week 3 of puppy life,
Ooh,
and
yeah.
it's just the sleep thing. I always tell people I don't. People always are shocked because my wife and I were very young parents, right? I'm 37. I've got a 16-year-old, so understandably, compared to a lot of people, my kids are very old for how old I am. But I think about people when they talk about being in their 40s and they've got like 2 and 3-year-olds. I'm like, I would have died if I was 37 years old and I had an infant. I would have physically died. I would have curled up in a ball and I would have died. Not actually like because my body shut down. My brain would have told my body like this is the end. I can't go any farther. Can't do it anymore because my dog doesn't even wake up in the night. She just wakes me up every day at like 5:30, 6 o'clock, and I just don't want to get up yet. I'm like, come on, dog. Like, can we just please give me like 30 more minutes? I'm tired. I'm old. I need to sleep. Mainly because I hate going to bed at night and just, never make good decisions. But back to what we were talking about. So I think Flesh and Blood has a unique problem that it wouldn't have if it were one of these games that just vomits content, which is you can only print cold foils of so many things before you run out of things to print cold foils for.
Right.
Like what else are you going to print in cold foil to do as prizing? You've okay, we've got 2 new heroes, right? Or yeah, 2 new heroes in this set that never existed before. So well, they're your top 8 prizing. Now what do we do? Like
Right.
we're out again. They give out the weapons, the cold foil weapons for all these like the token weapons. The cold foils go out as armory prizing, so you can't do those.
Mhm.
You can't do like majestic cold foils, even the weapons typically as armory prizing. You don't want to do them. You got to find specific times to do them. So now they're using Jubeel as one of them. The problem is it's not a weapon that anybody uses. Like people
Mhm.
just don't use it. So what do you do with it? So now they're going to give out just some. It's weird, right? Like we have an interesting problem in this game where the pricing is complicated to sort out because
Yeah.
we just
That's
have
true.
the card. The what I love about this game is that they don't vomit products.
Yep.
But that creates an inverse problem where if you want to use cards and not do unique cards as prizing like games like Dragon Ball do, where they make
Mhm.
special promo cards that you can only get from going to your weeklies, if you're not going to do that, which I applaud LSS for not touching that and never going down that road, that is a god awful way to play a game and to function as a game. But if you're not going to do that, you get in this weird spot where you have to figure something else out, right? You have to find a solution that just there's no real good solution, I don't think.
Echo chamber. That's the phrase I was trying to think
Echo
of.
chamber. There you go.
Echo
Gotcha.
chamber, where you're just like getting your own information confirmed over and over again. Jesus Christ. Holy shit. But yes, back to your point. I think that you're very correct that it kind of suffers from like the inverse problem because of a very good thing. And honestly, if I had to choose one of the two to have problems with, I like the way that it is now in this game. So,
yeah.
take
I
the
won't
good with the
complain.
bad.
Yeah, I won't complain. I'm curious if they couldn't maybe do, because what this game has shown us is that there are collectors galore. People love to
Yeah.
collect things. And we have whales and dolphins and goldfish and koi and I don't know. I don't understand what all those words mean, but
You know what I kind of thought?
we have
Sorry,
what,
go ahead.
what's that? No, go ahead.
What I kind of thought they'd do at this point already is I kind of assumed that we would be like literally the same stat profile as existing weapons, right? But
Mhm.
just like name changed to like the
Mhm.
the Victor's saber, and it's literally just a Dawn blade, but like reskinned for like a winner. I really thought that would be a. I don't know why. Like I just assumed that was coming, and then it just kind of never
Yeah.
did, and I forgot about it. But like I really was like pretty confident that at some point there was gonna be stuff like that where it's like reskinned for winners, and then that way the winner, if you've won, you get to throw down like the Victor Saber whenever you play Dorinthia. You know what I mean? Stuff like that.
Yeah.
I kind of assumed that was going to be the route that they went with some of the pricing, but hey, no, take it. It's yours, LSS.
Yeah, I think that I'm curious if they couldn't do something for winners like they do for judges, because with the judges they
Right.
make these cool, Typanis, and now they have Therion, Magister of Justice, who's like a light version, and a Draconic. You could do something, to your point, something hybrid like that, where instead of making even a weapon reskinned, just make a cool thing, but then only make it playable in UPF. And I know some people would be like, well, that's stupid. I don't want a non-playable card.
Yeah, I like
people
the
would
idea
collect it.
I get that. I like the idea of like being able to like flaunt your swag a little bit though. Like like, even if it is just like taking a tunic and making it like the, first place sash or some shit. And it's literally the exact same thing as a tunic. Same stats, nothing special at all. You get no benefit except for the fact you get to play it. Like, and show off that you won at some point. Something like that.
Yeah.
Would be cool. But
well, I mean, and to that point, right, the extended art tunics, that's part of the reason some people, like Adam still has his, as far as I know, he still plays his. He takes it every time. He never sold it because it's just a cool thing to own. And
yeah, but I mean, he's gonna put that down, and against 9 out of 10 people he puts that down against are gonna not know shit. But you put down, you play, the Saber of Victory, and like people are gonna be like, "What the fuck's that? Oh, you what? You got that? How? Like that's cool. That's fucking awesome."
Yeah, and maybe if like PvE takes off or UPF, it's a new lease on life at some point. Maybe making custom heroes that can only be played in those like community format, and not community formats, but more just like casual, more fun formats where you get to hang out. Might be cool to make heroes that are special for that, because they're just something different and unique. And I don't know. I think the Jubeel thing, I mean, obviously I'm being over dramatic about it. I do think it's
Just
a
a
weird.
little
It is weird to me. It's such a strange pick because it feels like such a worthless card to put. But who knows? I mean, maybe they're making something in Dust Till Dawn that is going to make it absolutely busted, and they're going to make just a super sick warrior who wields that thing like a mother, and it's just the best weapon, and all of a sudden it triples in price, and I look like an idiot. And that'd be hard for me because I've never said anything wrong about Flesh and Blood. I've properly guessed everything. My meta predictions are always been right, so it'd be weird for me to be wrong about something.
I think at least they didn't like make it like a special treatment like Meat Axe or something. That's just like
yeah.
Jubeel's cool, I guess. Thematic.
It looks cool. It has a cool. Yeah.
It's got like cool. It's not played at all, but it's got like could
cool
be
flavor.
a cool effect. Like if you've got a hero someday that like doubles tokens or something silly.
I've always thought it was odd mechanically as a sword that it wasn't 1 for 4. I understand that's insane, but like it doesn't get tokens or anything, so it's just always a 1 for 4. And you pump it, and it's got a break point for warriors. It's kind of cool, but just to help with the hit effect. I understand that 1 for 4 is busted, but at the same time,
only on hit? It's not just when you swing it.
Yeah, it's whenever this hits, I believe. Right? And I mean,
it is when it hits. Yeah. That sucks. That's even worse.
Yeah, so it's like, it's like it gets covered up by 1. You have to have an attack reaction or a pump to make them block with more than 1 card on it, and it doesn't have any cool interactions. Like Dory can still make it swing a second time, but it doesn't get counters, so it doesn't matter if it swings a second time. It's just 3 twice. Or with the pumps, it's all super predictable because you don't get the counters. So it's like not even like a hero can leverage it. Maybe there's a hero that will leverage it better. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Who knows?
Just weird to me. Whatever. But the other important news that I think we have to talk about is that we were talking about literally last night. We're like playing Blood Bowl games, and beforehand we were talking about Bates was talking about how he sold assassin cards, and he made a bunch of money off them because he bought them super early, and then everybody realized that certain things were short printed, like surgical extraction, and literally lamented last night about how I was like, they gotta do something, right? At some point, they gotta fix it. They gotta put it somewhere. They have to do a handout, and then they announced that it's going to be in Dusk Till Dawn as a card, and they said that it was just a mistake, and we all kind of knew that. James mentioned it, I think, in an interview. I think it's been clarified that the card number got switched with Regicide, so it got printed half as frequent as they intended, where and then Regicide got printed twice as much as, which it checks out. Regicide is just a card that you find in every single one.
Got the foils, baby. Not reprinting in foils.
Not reprinting in foil, which I do appreciate. I think that's cool. Yeah. That's a cool way to keep some value and not screw that up. So kudos LSS on making it right by that, because I definitely was like annoyed by that short printing not getting resolved earlier. And and the thing I said last night was 100%. I looked at Chris and I said, all I want is for them to just acknowledge that they have a solution coming. I don't need an exact timeline or anything. Just say it's coming down the line, because it kind of eases some tensions.
And what is this? This is just yet again having confirmed for you that you can trust LSS, at least to some extent, to come through,
to do right. They'll do right by the players. They typically don't let
I don't think that there's been
a
thing where I'm just like, God, still this is such a problem, like with LSS. Of all of the game companies that I have given my patronage, I have like, there's so many problems with so many of them. So very happy. Very happy with how they handle things. What else you got? What's next?
All right.
What was next on the
So the one of my big things for this week that I wanted to talk about, only because I thought it was so great and it felt like something that I was like, man, this is high quality content right here. To some degree, it's like free content for content creators to talk about it, because it's like talking points. So thank you, Carol, for being, for knowing that, I'm sure. But so Carol posted, and this is exactly what it said. It's a picture of Flynn Rider from Tangled, where they all holding the swords around him. And it says, drop a fab TCG opinion that would put you in this spot. And some of them are clearly it's people being facetious. They're just saying something way off the wall to just try and make a big deal.
I'm assuming you found some good ones, though.
Some of them are actually really good. And I kind of went, oh, okay. You know what? That's actually a pretty good take. And it actually is something where I'm like, I think some people would be upset about that and would throw a fit and be like, no. Then you read it again, you're like, I mean, so here's one of my favorite ones. CNC wouldn't be $80 if it was a 2-block. D-reacts are less common now. Arsenal destruction isn't as powerful in a world with Crown of Providence. The 3-block is what keeps it super relevant, because it's less of a liability when it effectively becomes a vanilla 2 for 6. I like that one. I think I kind of agree. I don't know that it would be insignificantly cheaper, but in a world where we're getting instant defenses like Oasis, and we have Crown of Providence and heroes who cycle their arsenal. And it's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's a pretty good take. That's a pretty good take.
Yeah, so I don't fault that one at all. Actually, solid. No sword from me. Sorry.
Some of them are chaotic. Like Spectre was fair. Crown of Seeds is fine. Remembrance is below rate. Ball Lightning solves fatigue meta.
That's got a lot to it there. I like how you just read Spectre was fair and you're like, this guy's a fucking asshole.
Yeah. There's no way they actually mean this. Like this is completely made up. That one was insane to me.
Say that one again, all the way through.
Spectre was fair.
Okay, next.
Crown of Seeds is fine.
Next.
Remembrance is below rate. Ball Lightning solves fatigue metas.
What's he mean by remembrance is below rate?
So people have been complaining because basically remembrance by itself beats Icelander, right? Because you play the Imperial Warhorn, which blows up Frost.
Got it. I was thinking of it the wrong way.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Got
So
it.
they're
Got it.
just
Got it.
saying people like you can't do that because like that lets Warhorn cycle. So um someone said oh this is the guy right here. Oh man, I love when when somebody actually posts their picture on Twitter and you go, oh, I know this guy. So this is Mr. Since LSS didn't reprint CNC, LSS failed the players. That's who this tweet is from. All right.
Mm-hmm.
This guy's got some bangers. Like he's just nonstop with all of his stuff. A legendary rarity is inherently predatory and does nothing but gatekeep potentially new players. I'm just saying predatory is a strong word.
Also, that's not right, but okay. Cool.
So my favorite thing with statements like this is my favorite one about legendary complaints, legendary equipment complaints, is that, and I've seen this guy do it. Okay, that's the best part. Is like Fab is a small enough community, you can kind of catch certain people where you're like, you see the same person posting randomly here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah.
You're like, got him. But he posted a thing and did that's the same thing that makes me always laugh, where he compared a Magic deck and he goes, everybody always says that Fab is cheaper than Magic, but I've got proof that it isn't. And he picked the most expensive Fab deck and the least expensive, like in rotation Magic deck, and compared them. Was like, the Magic deck's like $300 cheaper. And of course, I don't know anything about Magic, so I just at those times typically get a hold of Bergie and I'm like, hey Bergie, how good is this deck? And he's like, oh, it's like one of the worst decks in the format, or it's like the tier 2 deck that people play because they like it, but it's not actually that good. And I'm like, oh, okay, interesting. It's like
Hey,
well,
Bergie, what is the tier 1 busted deck this format that like is at least like in that try, and he gives it to you and you're like, oh, what's this? It's $500 more expensive than like an average Flesh and Blood deck. Interesting.
Yeah. Such a hilarious take. And it's funny that some people are just married to those takes and can't accept the fact that it's I think the issue is, and this was a comment on someone tweeted this earlier this week, and they said if you would just admit that what you want Fab to be is an LCG model so you can have all the cards, I would stop roasting you so hard. And it was just clearly like a subtweet, super hard subtweet. But I 100% agree that like people love to do that with games. They love to act like anything where a company is trying to make money is predatory.
Right. It's like, no, it's just business. That's how business works. So that they can, like, I don't know, continue to exist. No, I think that it's really, there is like Bill Burr sums it up the absolute best, where he says, he's a stand-up comedian, and he's like, dude, you can't argue with anybody about anything ever, because what you do, or what anyone does, is just go to www.imright.com and pull the data that they need to prove that they're right, and then that's what they throw in your face and they won't budge. And it's like, yeah, that's totally, like, people do that all the time. Your opinions don't make you dumb, your application of said data makes you dumb. Like, you can't just there's so much more to how you actually. You know what I wish? Ready? If I had if I could make one wish that took over the world, right? That encapsulated the world. It's that in order for you to feel that feeling of vindication or I'm right, you needed to legitimately debate somebody and come out the objective winner. And then you got that emotional feeling. Then you got that I'm right feeling. Until then, you don't. Think how much that would change online. Just fucking, even in real life, the fucker that cuts you off and then honks at you and gives you the finger, he doesn't get that satisfaction. I mean, it fixes so much shit.
Yeah. I'm always amazed at how many people are willing to just give god awful takes and somehow in their head it's right. Because that's
My favorite is when they give a bad take and do like the mic drop. They do like the mic drop gif.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh my God, I wish that you weren't able to feel good about yourself. Fucking at all. Yeah.
It's the equivalent of it. I think it's the reason that if you ever have somebody, if you're ever in a card game community or a gaming community, and there's somebody who people just can't stand, but they're always there, and they're always talking, and most importantly, they're always right. Like everybody in any gaming community ever has somebody that is like that. You have experienced it. Maybe you're lucky and you don't have it currently, or you go through phases where it ebbs and flows. Some communities are more so than others, but everybody has experienced, at least at some point, somebody who is right. Like they experience somebody who is like, this person knows, they just know, and they always know, but they're never that good, and they're not the best player, or they get beaten all the time. And it feels so, there's like so much vindication, like the Captain Holt vindication level gif, when you just watch them get wrecked, even at an armory, or they just run their mouth and they go to like the Pro Quest or the RTN and they O2 drop. And it's like, what happened, man? Like 2 days ago, you knew so much. You were telling me everything about my deck was bad, or I was picking the wrong cards, or I didn't understand this. What happened? What happened between then and now? You were so good. And of course, those people are also the people who always go, man, just drew the worst cards. My cards were so bad. You would not believe how bad my draws were. It's like, well, maybe you should build a better deck, and you should take someone else's advice for a change.
Yeah.
Card games in a nutshell. Games in a nutshell.
Just games
right?
in general.
Just
life.
Just remember,
honestly, life in general.
It's never your fault. You can always blame someone or something else.
Unless it's Blood Bowl, then it's all your fault. Dice didn't have shit to do with it. You're a bad player.
Except last night. Last night, Dice had everything.
Nothing to do with it. Nothing. We were in the quarterfinals, and I was playing Blake in the quarterfinals, and he fucking worked me, dude. What? Going into the final 4 turns, how many people did I have on the board? Like 3.
It wasn't a lot. You definitely like
fucking snotlings.
Generally, it's not a good question to ask, how many guys do I have to have on the line?
Oh, yeah. No, I was like, do I have to field my whole team, or can I just put like my 3 guys on the line and save the rest of them? Because you were literally just fucking murdering everything.
Everything.
I didn't mean shit that my team had block. It didn't do anything. Nothing. You're like, why? Yeah, okay, that's fine. I'll just roll stumbles, bitch. Like, it didn't matter at all. I was like, God damn it.
Meanwhile, next to us, Adam had basically a similar problem, except his dice were rolling so poorly that it was like he was rolling D3s when he was trying to break armor. Chris was like, yeah, everybody's got 8 armor. And Adam's like, well, it's fine. My dice can only add up to 6. Like, my best roll can only ever be 6. So it doesn't even matter. Don't even worry about it. I'm never going to break anything.
Yeah.
It was the weirdest. It's the strangest thing. But I mean, that's games. I mean, that's the best of games, is when they're just chaotic at times and things just go completely horribly right and completely horribly wrong. And that's, you just hope it goes right at the right time. And it went right for me at the right time. That was the biggest thing. It was like, later on in the game, I had hilarious moments where my guy wouldn't do anything. He was just doing a do-si-do around one of your guys in the middle of the pitch.
Single really stupid the whole game.
I didn't.
Not a single one.
No.
The closest you got was your troll wanted to eat a guy, like the last turn for like a stretch play to get an extra block before you scored your 3rd touchdown. So it's like, I'm so sorry that your troll rolled so bad. Fucker.
Yeah. He tried to eat a snotling. That was like the worst of what happened with my big guys, which is shocking because that never happens. Meanwhile, my star player, who is supposed to be chaotic and just supposed to be a bruiser who happens to punch some blocks, he was a straight line missile. Just
so Creek Rust Gouger. He's basically, what do they call that type of movement? It's like compulsory movement. Basically, he's got the 3 squares in front of him and where he is, and on a 1 and 2 you go there, 3 4 middle, 5 6 right, and so you're rolling, and he has 5 movements. So he goes, left, middle, right, moves to that square, picks a direction, left, middle, right, moves to that square. So it's randomized. And this motherfucker was like honing in on players. He's like, all right, this guy's 4 squares away. I got to go right towards him. And he's just like, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, attack. It's like, Jesus just fucking Christ, Blake. Just didn't give a shit. He's like, I'm not going to randomize it. I'm just going to roll this dice that's all 2s for some reason.
It happened at the issue was normally you play to the chaos happens intermittently. Like that's kind of the leveling factor. And what we love about Blood Bowl is that chaos happens to everybody, but typically it happens kind of intermittently. So you might get it early. I'll get it in turn 2 or 3 versus 1 or 2. So, but for me, the problem, for that game last night, what happened was I wouldn't catch any chaos until like turn 7 of the half. And then my guy would just do something where he would walk a circle around your guy, but then he was still directly next to him.
But it doesn't matter because turn 1 of the game, you literally you fucking weaseled your way through my line and killed my Yeti. The only guy that had any chance of handling him, just like
ever blocking him,
just worked all the way back through and just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna kill him. It's like, God damn it, Blake. Jesus.
It was the most ridiculously.
It was a ridiculous game. It was super fun.
Yeah. But that's what I love about Blood Bowl, and I think that's part of the reason I play and Fab, and I play the stupid wizards in Marvel Crisis Protocol, and I'll find some nonsensical thing to play in Shatterpoint because that's just what I enjoy. I enjoy chaos.
Can we? So I had a question for you. Could we theoretically sell our teams to new ownership?
I don't know.
Like if I was like, hey, RJ, do you want to play my Norse team?
Play Norse team
as is? Because I'm really debating just playing Pro Elves and fucking just hucking the ball,
slinging it,
slinging it, man.
Yeah,
I love that analogy where elves are like, those fucking booster rockets. If you're a spaceship, that's what your fucking team is. You're just those booster rockets fucking off as your guy with the ball tries to get to the end zone. They're dying. You can score with 4 dudes, but those 3 dudes that don't have the ball, dying. It's all good. Just get that rocket ship to the stratosphere, baby. Is
theoretically,
stratosphere is not very high, is it? You got to go.
I don't know. It's atmosphere,
Space.
stratosphere.
I don't know why I tried to make it fancy. Go to space.
Yeah, go to space. It's just the way that you theoretically in Blood Bowl, it's hard to score 3. 3 is a lot of touchdowns for most teams,
and you just shit on the other team.
Snotlings. I mean, if you kill everybody, it's much easier to score when there's less resistance. It turns out, but theoretically, it should be hard to score 3 times. So elves, in what their game plan is like, if I just score 3 times, I just have to get in the way enough.
All of my dead players, I can buy new players to.
Just keep replacing. Just let it carry off all the dead linemen and replace new linemen next week. But I mean, that's one of the cool things about Blood Bowl is that you get to kind of choose how you run your league. I'm in another league where if a team disbands, you can pick up their free agents. So if you're playing Norse and another Norse team stops playing and they have a Valkyrie who picked up block and dodge, you can just buy her as a free agent and add her to your team as long as you stay under the cap.
That's dope.
Which is kind of a cool thing. The only requirement, you got to keep their name because it's the same player.
Yeah.
You got to
that's fair.
It's kind of just that sub rule where it's for lore reasons, if they're a free agent, they got to go. You got to actually physically buy the model from the other. No, you don't have to go.
No. And if they die, you smash it. Yeah.
You have to actually hit it with a hammer.
Keeps.
We play for keeps in this league. It is no joke. We actually got in the world of hobby, because I think we have to talk some hobby.
Yeah.
In the world of hobby, I don't know if you noticed, but in our general in Discord, somebody commented, which is rather uncommon, but I know it's uncommon because I have notifications. It's one of the few notifications I get on my phone is when people comment, just in case.
No, we don't
And
get a
somebody
lot.
commented, I don't get a lot. I don't get a lot of notifications from our general Discord. But somebody said, wait, if I go there, is it going to screw something up? I'm going to disappear, right?
No, you're fine. Just don't click on a different fucking video channel.
Yep. That's what I was just worried about that. They said 2 things. I was thinking that I missed the Tuesday evening streams, especially around spoiler testing time. To be honest, that was like the best Tuesday streams were when we got a ton of new cards on TTS, because we had to physically build the cards on TTS, which was cool. And then they also said, this is Jordan said this, and more Shatterpoint talk.
Please, right? Can we do that now? Jason's not here, so we can do that, right?
Look, we had somebody make a request. We're obligated
to fulfill the request. Otherwise, what's the point of requesting things, right? We have to.
We asked people if they want us to talk about something. Let's talk about it.
I want to talk about Shatterpoint. It's so goddamn bad.
I'm down for it. I think this is a great week to do it because we got some sick Shatterpoint news. A couple things. Number one, if you are a mini person and you're not doing Shatterpoint,
sorry, that was not an offensive comment by Blake. If you're a person who plays miniature games,
that's okay. Yeah, that's fair. If you play miniature games and you have chosen to opt out of Shatterpoint, I mean, what are you doing, man? Have you seen the models? They look sick. So, I know Andrew said he may not play it, but he definitely wants to paint some. So I'm hoping that he just dives in and plays it. But I also understand that everyone has limited time. So I'm not going to I'm never going to guilt anybody to be like, oh, why don't you play another game? Like, you only play like 4. God, loser. Just play a 5th one.
Yeah.
Your family will get to know you later in life.
Yeah. So the miniatures look sick, right?
Yep.
It's Star Wars IP. It's the scale that I like size wise, because like the army thing, that's the one thing I think kept me away from Legion, is like just the amount of models and like the scale of the battles. It's never been like my favorite like style of game for Star Wars. So being able to play like the character centric like duels and stuff. Not only that, but now that they revealed like how the skill tree or the combat trees and the stances on the stance card works, dude, I have never been so fucking ready for a game. And they did like the god tier like point scoring mechanic with the ladder that you like fight back and forth on with the momentum that builds up, dude. That mechanic itself too is so satisfying, because you got it a little bit in God tier where as you played, like you would shorten your side of the ladder so it was easier for you to then score the point as you were pulling it back and forth. But if you haven't checked out Shatterpoint at all and you're totally lost in the sauce, at least give it a look, because it's super interesting. It is not just like a Crisis Protocol reskin. It is completely different. And I really liked the interview that Krabick did with Will Schick, because of the content of the interview, not because of the talking over him and stuff like that. But
that interview has been a journey for me. It's one of those interviews that I keep having to come back to every 15 or 20 minutes. I'm like, I
yelled. I was literally just driving by myself and I was just like, let him fucking talk. Like, he's the one telling us about the game. No one gives a shit about what you think that the Ahsoka Tano stance card is. You think that'd be swappable? It's like, who the fuck cares? Let him talk.
Yeah.
Anyways, sorry. I'm a little distracted or a little, worked up. But that mechanic in Shatterpoint, how it's going to like constantly build to a crescendo as you're going, making each ladder side of the ladder shorter and shorter until like you're scoring real easily and you're just fighting back and forth like that, seems so thematic. I think it's great. But yeah, what are you excited for?
I like the fact. So one of the big things for me is I really, really, really like theme. I like when a game draws me in and feels like I'm playing characters. One of my big gripes when we played Star Wars Destiny was that it got lost. Like
Mhm.
the forest, what it was, the forest got lost. You lost the forest in the trees, or lost whatever that
Yeah, yeah.
saying is, right? This idea that they started to fade at times. There were times where the game would ebb and flow back and forth between really cool thematic characters.
You'd
I
have like
loved
the
Maul.
Raylo,
Like
the Raylo
I
deck felt great,
right.
and then droids. It's like,
Raylo
what the fuck? That's not R2D2 and C3PO. What the shit is this?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. And like Obi-Wan and R2 felt great because it was like this thing where like R2 helped him build shields and he would protect R2, and then Obi did the damage and stuff. And then you
Mhm.
would play like droids and it was like C3PO, Chopper, and R2, and they were just murder bots. And it's like,
Yeah.
look, I get that R2 and Chopper might have done more damage than any single character. Like
In the
those two, their murder count is real high,
yeah.
but it was like blowing up Death Stars. It wasn't in one-on-one combat. Like
Mhm.
Chopper wasn't cutting dudes in half with a lightsaber. It just felt so like the theme was lost on it.
Mhm.
And so far as I keep seeing all these Shatterpoint things, you get this feeling of like, the game's theme is very important to them. The tie of Star Wars and the characters that are in them is important, and it's like holding that together. It's like that's the core of the game is the theme. And it's something as simple as when they explain how force works. Like you need the force to do all these actions because the force binds all things. Like all of these actions and things that you can do, these special actions, you need force. And you get so it's like you get the force, you do it,
And
but
how
then
it's
as you
not,
are
yeah, how it's
yeah,
not
and
like
as you're
it's not like your characters that are spending the force are
yeah,
force users. It's
yeah,
just as far as like it's like your strike force's presence with the
mhm,
force, and you
yep,
spend that to make sure like it's the force, like making sure that like your unit of clones got to the right spot at the right time. Like
mhm,
it's things like that that allow them to get behind cover in the nick of time. Like you're expending your influence with the force as a player almost to
yeah.
ensure that your strike force is doing what you want them to do,
Well,
which is really
and
cool.
it's and only certain, like not every character just has it, right? They didn't just
Hmm.
go, well, clones need to spend it, so they have to have it. It's like, well, no, clones don't have the force, so you can't just give them
Hmm.
force because they need to have it. So they tied the theme there, but then also the fact that it's the little details to me that always make a game sing. Like as a character gets fatigued, so they have to. The way that the game works is you have a health pool and you have to take wounds, and each time you take a wound, if you get to your third wound, that character is done. Like
In the
they're
example they gave, so
removed from the
you
conflict.
have health and
Yeah.
stamina. So your
Yep.
health is the bigger of the two numbers, and your stamina is it looks like it's going to be like a range of like 2 to 4, something like that.
2 to 4,
And as
right?
soon
Yep.
as your health is depleted, you take a point of stamina. So if a
Yep.
character like Anakin has 11 health and 3 stamina, after you take 11 damage, you're going to take a hit on your stamina, and you only
Yep.
have 3 hits on your stamina to take. So effectively, he has like 33 health. But
Yep.
the way that they differentiate that is by giving the negative effects of losing
Hmm.
stamina points,
Like
like
being
making
fatigued and
making
worn
force,
and
like
being
making
yeah.
all of your abilities cost extra force if you're fatigued or if you're lost stamina. Making,
Mhm.
I'm sure there's gonna be other card effects too, but they allow you. And one of the things they said is like they want like in the battles where like Anakin loses or Asajj gets taken the advantage of or whatever it is, like they're not in the battle anymore. They're just they're being worked, right? Like
Yeah.
it's like they're still there. Like it's never like Anakin. It's not like a big like the Darth Maul Ahsoka scene from Episode 7. Like
Yeah.
Darth Maul doesn't just fuck off like 2/3 of the way into that because Ahsoka killed him. It's like, no, he's there the whole time. They're fighting the whole time, but he's just becoming less and less capable. So I just I guess that'd be vice versa for that duel
Yeah.
specifically.
Yeah.
But
I'm excited to see how some of that stuff works for the more like shooty factions. Like when you're gonna have, because you're non-force users, like you're
yeah,
not gonna
just
have a
take
heavy
clones.
Jedi presence. Like
Yeah.
can you just roll out clones and just blast. You'd assume that those would be like your shooties,
Mm-hmm.
which every game needs those ones that are like that, but then they're going to run on a different skill tree and they're going to function in different ways.
Well,
And
yeah,
it's
it's so cool too. Like the different, like already the roles that they're letting the different clones take. Like you're talking
yeah,
about like the 501st with Anakin and like Rex, like how they are a super supporting unit.
mhm,
Like they do a lot that enables their primary and support or primary and secondary units to
mhm.
do things. Well, I can't remember Obi-Wan's legions.
Just Cody. Yeah, I don't know what Cody.
Cody, the
Yeah,
yellow ones
the orange guy.
or orange, whatever they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, like but how they're like range support like shooters, like they're like snipers and stuff.
Mhm.
So just how they are, those themselves have separate roles. So it's like if you take like just a clone strike force, you could have different roles within it. Like just the theme of it feels so good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of the things that's important to me is that I would love to feel the different forms in like the lightsaber.
Yes.
I hope that they find a way to translate, because again, this is a deep dive, and normally you don't deep dive too much when you talk about these things with people, because I've definitely fallen into that before, where I think every good nerd that's worth their salt has accidentally deep dive too hard with somebody, and the next thing you know, you're explaining how
It's
the
like,
reason
well,
that Obi-Wan goes and has his stance and draws his saber back is because he uses Suresu, which is a defensive form in the lightsaber in the range of lightsaber forms, versus Anakin, who is
mm-hmm.
like a Sheehan master, who's more aggressive, it's like that funny thing where then you look over and they're just like,
Okay,
uh,
so well, in order to explain lightsaber forms, I have to explain first like how and then you going down that trail, and
yep.
it's like, yep, and we lost you. We lost.
You see,
I literally asked you what the color lightsabers mean. Like it's like,
yeah,
well, but I'd be like Mace Windu, he's purple, but it's like he's got mastery in two different one of the dark side forms, which is it's like, well, a lightsaber form is, and then you go down that, and
yep.
then you live here now.
You spiral hard, but that's something that's like super important to me as somebody who really loves Obi-Wan, is that I really want to feel like you're playing as Obi-Wan, and
Mhm.
he's not a missile. Obi-Wan shouldn't be a missile, because that's not the way that he functions
That
as a Jedi,
that
you know?
duel in Rebels, not to be a spoiler if you haven't seen Rebels, but the
I mean, if you
duel
haven't
with
at this point, if you haven't seen Rebels, I think there's like what's the oh god, what's the word I'm looking for?
yeah,
I just lost a word
the
now.
legal thing where it's like you
Yeah.
only have so long, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways, but like that with like that duel, like the different stances that he takes leading into that duel and what the meaning is between him and Maul and Rebels, fucking
Yeah.
awesome, dude. Because doesn't he start in Surisu and then he switches and it's like the
He
whole like what there's
yeah.
something about that like
So
his
so the
stances mean things as he shifts and it's like the
yeah.
whole like I'm not here to fuck around Maul like
So
he leaves his
there's a
traditional
really
stance.
cool breakdown of it on YouTube somewhere, which
Yeah.
I'd have to dig for, but my favorite explanation of that whole scene is how they took this little tiny 60 seconds between Maul and Obi-Wan in the desert,
And they analyze the fuck out of it and it's
and they
awesome.
analyze it. And basically the gist of it is, right, that the way that the fight goes down, even though it's super fast and it happens very quickly,
It's
proves that
literally like a 7-second duel.
yeah,
It's like
yeah,
4 moves
yeah. And the whole idea is that it proves that over the years Obi-Wan has changed.
and grown. Yep.
He's grown and learned as a Jedi and as a force wielder and a lightsaber user. He's like grown, whereas Maul is the same, which is why Obi-Wan beats him so easily, is because Maul makes the move that he's made at Obi-Wan so many times, and Obi-Wan counters it the way that he's learned to counter it
Right.
as
Well,
somebody who has grown.
and there's I just watch the video if you haven't seen it, but it's really
Yeah.
cool because they break down to like when they when they're drawing their lightsabers and they go into their stances and it shows Obi-Wan going into his like traditional stance and then it shows him like shifting his stance and they're talking about and breaking down how like that is where Obi-Wan is determining that this is not a defensive duel. He's not trying to buy time. He's not trying to do anything like that. And then it talks about like when Maul makes his like attack at Obi-Wan, how, Obi-Wan has adjusted his fighting style throughout the years and how he is a true master because he incorporates this move and stuff like that. And it's just fucking really wild. And it's just done. It's over.
It's over. Yeah, it's like the most ridiculously unnecessary breakdown.
It is a perfect example of an absolutely unnecessary breakdown that is fucking glorious.
That if you love Star Wars and you appreciate lightsaber battles, you just sit there and go like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. But most people would watch it and just be like,
who the fuck cares? Wow.
You need to get a life. You need to it's the same people who, you like make fun of because they watch a movie and they overanalyze it at times. And you're just like, come on, man, just enjoy it. But then if you have something that you really love, it's like, oh,
I enjoy analyzing it.
Right. I think the key here is that it's analyzing for like learning sake and analyzing for appreciation sake versus analyzing for being critical sake, which is what people are often guilty of with like Star Wars movies and Marvel movies. Is they just want to be critical. They just want to find errors because it makes them feel big and important. Like, did you actually know? Well, actually, like, isn't that's the phrase? Well, actually, doesn't everybody have a friend like that? You say, well, actually, and you push up your glasses. I actually do that sometimes. I don't even wear glasses and I do it. I'll just go, well, actually, and I'll push up imaginary glasses just to kind of prove a point because it makes me feel superior to other people. But
yeah. All right. Did you find one?
What one?
I found it's like a 5-minute like breakdown.
Yeah, I found a 5-minute one, but then there's other ones too, so I don't know which one it is exactly.
We'll have to watch them and then decide which one we want to link in the comments.
Is the Tom Jedi? It might be the Tom Jedi one.
Okay.
I think that might be the actual one. He's got 26,000 subscribers. That's actually kind of ridiculous. 5 years ago. It has a spoiler warning at the beginning, if that tells you anything.
I'm just down a rabbit hole now, looking at like Obi-Wan earthbending and shit. So okay.
I would just like to point out that Rebels is one of the best series that Star Wars has ever produced.
I'm trying to think of all of. I don't think that the Clone Wars ever made me cry. I don't think it did.
Yeah,
but
I don't think
Rebels did.
Well, so does it count? Does it? I mean, the whole thing's a spoiler alert if you haven't watched all that stuff. But again, it's like 2 years, 3 years old. If you haven't watched it yet, I don't feel bad if I spoil them. No, the most recent season 9, the final season that they produced. Because that season did have, there were a couple moments in that season. The moment where they explain what happened with Rex in the chip, where Rex fights his programming.
Yep.
And he's like, good soldiers follow orders, and he's supposed to kill Ahsoka, and he just fights his own programming. You're just like, Rex.
Yeah,
I love you so much. And it's like that moment was super, super emotional.
Right.
Because like watching Rex fight his programming is a pretty huge moment in that. But
I could talk Star Wars for
forever.
Jason's gonna hate this, but we could totally do a Star Wars podcast. I would talk the fuck out of some Star Wars.
Jason would.
He would.
I mean, we could have Chris do it with us. Although to be fair, Jason might actually Jason likes anime, but he doesn't like.
Oh yeah, the Black Coffee anime thing was never going to be Jason's speed. We knew that going in. That's okay.
Whereas Jason loves Star Wars.
He does.
He loves Star Wars. He literally built a lightsaber.
He did. He just did. Oh, we're going to talk about that next week. I'm excited to hear his story.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said it was.
Because that, I mean,
it looked like it was fucking awesome.
Yeah, you can't do that and not start with that's a pretty significant commitment and a ton of money.
Kind of an investment there. I'd consider that an investment. Yeah. It's so Shatterpoint. What else we got for news? We'll just leave off on a final recap. They're going to be announcing or they're going to be coming out with the next article that's going to be breaking down how the stance cards work. So that's going to be really exciting because I'm curious what a lot of the other things mean. You can kind of draw a conclusion when you're looking at like the abilities tree. If you ever played any games like Arena Rex, or even like it's not quite the same, but like Guild Ball had, you would roll for successes and then you would spend your successes left to right on like a tree that could, give you more and more things. This looks more like it's a true like branches off, so you can spend your successes to like go, one over, but then it splits off and you can either go up or down with it and keep spending your successes to the right, which is cool. I like that a lot, just because I'm really curious how they spend defense dice, because if you can do a similar thing by spending your defense dice on your tree to like counteract that, I think that that's a really cool mechanic as well. So I'm
Be really
curious to see what
cool
it sees.
if it was balanced based on character. If some characters leaned more defensive versus some characters being more like, you would expect Maul to just want to rocket up an offensive skill tree where he's all about getting more aggressive and better at attacking.
Right. Oh, I mean,
Whereas
that's what
other
it is, right?
yeah.
Like that's what it has. That's what it's got to be. That's
I'm just
why they
thinking.
would make
I'm
stances.
curious if some characters don't, like, again, Suresu being like a defensive posture. Does Obi-Wan's tree lean defensive for offensive sake? Like, if he does things defense, like you attack him, he successfully defends, and he gains advantage when he attacks you back. Like different.
Oh,
if there are ways to like
skills, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, those are the things that's the depth that I don't know. Yeah,
that'd be cool.
Statute of limitations, by the way, that's what we were looking
That
for.
is, thank you, God. See, we think of it. It's just
I
later.
Googled it.
Oh, okay.
No, I didn't think of it. I Googled it because it was driving me crazy that I couldn't figure it out.
I already forgot what my thing was. It was echo chamber. Now I got it.
Echo chamber.
We
Got it. Yep. Hang on to it.
Yeah, no, I think I'm happy, especially because Will in that interview was talking about spending like complexity. Like you've got like a complexity budget, and talking about how in any game you can't, if you just add complexity to make things really cool, at a certain point it has negative impacts on the final product. So you've got so much of a budget that you can put into before the whole game starts to sort of fall backwards, right? So he said that they spent a lot of their complexity budget on like those one-on-one, like the interactions of combat and how that takes place, which is already visible in the skill tree, the combat tree that is on each of the stance cards. And it's really cool how you can flip them too for the primary, your leader. Yeah, you can flip that to, change up how you're doing it. But I like that so much focus was put on that, because that's what I want in the game. I want to feel like, it's Ahsoka versus Maul, or I really want to see what Bo-Katan can do against like a Maul and the Death Watch, like, and shit like that.
What can the Mandalorians do against Jedi, and how do they work in the theme of that interaction? And I think that down the road it'll continue to be interesting to see how they bring in, because we'll get the baseline things, but then you have to find there's going to be more complexity down the road when you start to add characters who don't fit what they create. Because like right now, what it seems like is they're doing things with characters that have not vanilla, but like you know what to expect with Jedi, and then clones and Mandalorians kind of fall into that, like more like they're very aggressive.
But you're thinking like, how wild are they going to make like a bounty hunter? Like,
like how do you make a bounty hunter feel like a bounty hunter and not just another shooty unit? Right. Like how do you bring in like the elements that make them a bounty hunter?
Yeah, that would be really interesting. Maybe they get benefits for every time they put a stamina or like a wound on somebody or something.
Yeah. Can they do some sort of trapping or
that'd be cool.
Something where they
disabling
can, like,
for a turn or something?
Yeah, disable certain effects or abilities and interact with people's abilities to use certain tools or something.
Dude, I'm so pumped. Are you going to Adepticon, Blake?
I'm not.
Dude. I'm so excited to demo the game. That's gonna be sweet. That's fucking like 2 weeks away.
Yeah.
Is Jason?
Yeah.
Jason's not either, is he?
I don't think he is. He was originally, we talked about trying to make something out of it and maybe do a group trip, but then it just didn't work with. He had a vacation, and my kids' spring break didn't line up at all. So
gotcha.
it just was never going to work once
Yep.
we started actually looking at responsibilities and details. So
Oh well. I'll let you
Yeah.
guys know how it is.
yeah. Well, you're doing a painting competition too.
Yeah,
So,
Chelsea and I both are.
yeah.
I've just got
How's that going?
good. I'm just she's actually further on her project than I am on mine. So I've been doing like lots of like Blood Bowl team painting and stuff like that. And over the boys are on spring break now, so this weekend I've got a bunch of free time too. So that's gonna be where I really hammer out a big chunk of my progress. But yeah, I'm doing a diorama for MCP, and then I'm also gonna do Ivar Eriksson from Blood Bowl for the Golden Demon. So we'll see. I mean, I'm not expecting great things. We just want to do it to have fun. So
Yeah.
it'll be good.
I'm always curious how many people I'd be curious to see how many people listening or are that like our fab contingent that maybe play mini games or something, how many of
Mhm.
them are painters or like to paint, or if painting is something they've done before and never come back to, because you find people who do that a lot, who kind of ebb and flow in and out of playing miniature games because they found one that they liked and then it went away and they don't do it anymore,
Mm-hmm.
and then they come back to them years later. I mean, Pat has been playing Blood Bowl with us, and he's kind of that, where 10 years ago he played stuff
Well,
and
his
dove
big
into
thing was
card games
Warhammer.
and
Yeah, his big thing was Warhammer
Yep.
Fantasy, and like I've never known him as a miniature gamer ever. It's
No,
always
yeah.
it was always Flesh and
Card
Blood,
player.
card play.
Yep.
Yeah. So, to hear that he was big into miniatures like a decade ago, it's like, oh shit,
Yeah.
dude, come play these ones with us. So I'm
Yeah.
curious, yeah, if anyone else has journeys like that.
Yeah, I'm always curious what other, I mean, part of it is because I'm always curious if somebody else has something that's cool. Now, granted,
Right. Selfishly,
zero
it's like tell
capacity.
us about the fun
Yeah.
games that you play so that we can
Yeah.
spend yet more money on different fun shit.
I have zero capacity for any more things like that, where like now I'm just settling into having my finished stuff, and then I'm slowly able to add a project where it's like, this is the thing I'm painting right now. It's going to take me a few months, but I've got time before a season starts and I can take my time and paint it. I'm not rushing.
Right.
Can enjoy the process of figuring it out and not be in a panicked hurry to try and
Yeah.
shove something together
I'm kind of at the
for a season.
I'm at the place where I want to be done with my Blood Bowl miniature, my teams. I'm not gonna do star players or anything. I just want my goal by the time Shatterpoint drops is to have my teams painted, as well as like the extra positionals and linemen that I got from like second boxes for like my elves and my Norse. I want those painted up and just done so I can check that off my list. And then I just want to be ready with an empty table when it comes Shatterpoint time, because I want to be able to knock that shit out, because I'm so excited to paint gorgeous Star Wars models.
I would love to just paint whatever my first Strike Force is, to get it in, paint it, and have it playable.
See,
quickly.
I wanna savor it. I don't want to rush it. I'm gonna spend hours, hours and hours on Bo and Ahsoka.
I think certain characters,
dude, I want
the nice thing is certain characters you could just bang them out, right? Like like some of the clones, the clones you're gonna just be able to muscle through them in a heartbeat.
Battle droids, you're getting dipped in brown paint, bitch. Like, sorry about it. But dude, I want to talk about the new Mando so bad too. We can talk about it after the podcast. I don't want to spoil that because that's legitimately new and might spoil it for people. But I mean, you know, from the first episode, I can say this because the first episode you see her, Bo-Katan is like my favorite Star Wars character. She's so fucking, the writing and like the tragicness. I went off on a rant in our private group, but her tragic, like the tragedy in her story is so fucking great. And I'm so curious how they handle her in The Mandalorian, because you see her like sitting on her throne alone after a lifetime. I'm not going to get into it again. Never mind. But anyways, I mean, I saw some real Bo hate online, so I needed to make sure that my stance is, I think that she's a phenomenal character. But hey, one of the most important things to me is that they got Katie Sackhoff to play her, and it makes me
brings me so much joy. I have
There's so much
said,
satisfaction in that too, that it's just like it's so synergistic across the
yeah,
platforms that it's just like so much about it is so satisfying. Yeah.
all I have said forever in group chats and to people who we talk Star Wars with all the time. I have said it forever, and I will say it until something happens, and it will be like one of the most. It will be like a new moment in my nerd life
Mm-hmm.
that will bring me almost as much joy as the moment I stood and clapped and
I think I know
cheered
what
when
you're gonna
Cap
say.
caught Mjolnir. Is
FPJ.
we've got confirmation, yes, that Ezra is coming back,
Yes.
and I need him to have a Force vision just once. It doesn't have to happen all the time. It doesn't have to be a long drawn out thing. But I need Freddie Prinze Jr. I need him
To
to
be
be Kanan.
yes.
Because Kanan Jarrus is one of my favorite Jedi in all of Star Wars.
Fucker made me cry. Just bringing it back to what we were talking about before. That fucker made me cry. Son of a
that
bitch.
moment, it's not often that you cry at like an animated series. That's very tends to lean funny.
I'm
but
getting
that
like
moment
emotional thinking about it again. It's like, God damn it, dude, that scene. Holy shit.
Such good writing.
Such good writing. And then like Hera and just all of it. It's like, God damn it.
It's why the Mandalorian is so good. Favreau and Filoni should just run Star Wars. They should have never gone away from it. After Lucas was done, they should have handed it over to those two, and it would have been majestic and glorious.
The High Republic, please, for the love of God, just give it to them and let them tell cool stories. Please.
Filoni and Favreau have a way of telling Star Wars stories that's just magical.
It just feels like true. Yeah, we're total fanboys here. But like, just the way that they expand on characters and eras, it just everything they've touched has just made me love Star Wars more. So fucking let them have it.
Let them have
That's all we got though.
Yeah.
Right. Unless you got something else, but we're over an hour here. All right. Good deal. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. And who is it that requested Shatterpoint?
I can get a name. So I want to
Jordan. Jordan, thank you for requesting Shatterpoint. I want to fucking talk more about it. Like, and as we get more details about it, we can definitely dig into like what they announced and release. And I'm definitely going to give like a little spiel about playing the demo at Adepticon and stuff too. So that's going to come. But let us know what games you want to hear us talk about, because we love sharing and learning and checking new stuff out. So let us know, man. That's all we got. Thanks for joining us. Peace.